Welcome to my 2021 bullet journal setup. This is my second year of bullet journaling, so be kind. And this year I'm using an Archer and Olive notebook, my first one. There was a lot to choose from, but I ended up going with this green one with the leaf design. Last year I used a notebook I got from Flying Tiger, which is a brand from Copenhagen. But you can really tell this notebook is a lot better quality than that one, so I'm excited to use it. The first pages are just the standard key and name tag plate. As it's my second year, I still use my key and evolve my key, what I want to use. So this year I've added just a simple task and then the completed task with the cross, and then an arrow if I've pushed my task forward, and then the cancel task, and then I have the underlying task because I often split in my tasks in underlying categories that I have to get done before I can have the final task finished. And this is just a simple design that I've chosen for this, my first setup in my last notebook from 2020. I didn't really have a theme for the yearly setup because it was also new. So it was kind of just the future log and that was it. But this year I wanted to try to really go all out with a theme and all the stuff that you see other bullet journal artists do. And I really liked how it looked. I guess I was kind of inspired by both Amanda Rachlee's last yearly setup and then Myra's journal setup from the this year 2021, but kind of tried to make it my own, but use some of the elements from those two setups. So this next page is just a yearly cover page, I guess. And I made the 0 way too big. I didn't like my sketch, so I tried to fix it, but it ended up being worse. It gets a little better when I've colored in with the marker, but yeah. As I was saying, this is my second year, so I'm still learning and I'm still new to all of this, so I'm gonna make mistakes along the way. I thought it would be funny to do this computer-like loading thing that I've seen a lot of people do. I think it's kind of fun and quirky and matches the funny sketch-like design well. I think it actually helps a lot with the marker. It gives it some dimension, or yeah, It gives it some kind of dynamic. You can see that I was debating whether or not or where to put stuff, because I hadn't really sketched out the designs as much as I've just sketched out the placement of numbers and so on, and letters and so. And I also find that sketching it first really helps me. Sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't do it. And I find that when I don't do it, I often make more mistakes. So this next one is the grid spacing guide, which I've seen a lot of other artists do. So I guess there's not really much else to it. And then I've just chosen the categories, the spacings that I use the most. So I spaced it out with the half of each direction, the half of a page, and then both thirds, fourth and fifth, I think, both ways, horizontal and vertical. And I ended up afterwards changing the colors into just black, and then writing half and fourth and fifth and so on, because I thought it looked messy with all the colors. Yeah. And then again, just thinking about how I want to do the squirrels and then the page next to this is a quote I found on Pinterest. And I'm not gonna pretend I know how to pronounce it. I think it's Spanish. Could be wrong. But I think it's really a good quote and a nice one for the start of a new year, especially with 2020 being as it was. Just nice to see the year from this perspective. So the quote is, "Whatever will be, will be. The future is not ours to see. Don't worry, if it's supposed to happen, it will." And I think I've spent a lot of time this year worrying about what was going to happen, and just in general being scared and worried about the year's unpredictability. So this quote was really why I chose it, because you just have to let it be. The things that happen, you can't change them. You have to accept them at some form. So there's the kind of sound that you need if you want to pronounce it. So que sera, sera. so it sounds Spanish to me, but then again, I don't know, I don't speak a word of Spanish. And then I went over it again because the first time didn't really... I think it was when I erased the pencil line. It kind of took away some of the marker. So I went over it again because I wanted it to, yeah, be readable. And now I'm doing the future log. Last year I went for a vertical style, but this year I wanted to try this horizontal because I found that the vertical didn't really leave me much room to write down when I had different stuff. So I'm gonna try and see if this one is better for me. We'll see. And then just doing the same font as all the others and coloring in the weeklies. And then I actually forgot to place in the numbers of the dates. I did that later, but off camera, because I think it's nice to be able to see that. So I feel like I need it in my journal. I know a lot of people don't do them anymore. And then I also felt like I needed a place to write out future things. I find that sometimes plans, at least at the end of the year, can go into the next year, so 2022. So then I feel like I needed to make this spread to write those down, because I know I'm going to forget if I make plans for the next year and then I don't write them down because I don't have room in my 2021 setup. And I don't need that much space. I think it's only gonna be like 1 or 2 appointments, but it's just nice to have, to be able to look at if I have any plans in the future. And then the page next to it is going to be a savings page, because I really want to be better at saving my money. This is my last month of being in school, so hopefully I will get a job and really start to be able to put some money in my savings. So I want to make a spread of kind of how much I do each month. Just to be able to see how much I can do in a year. And I thought it would be funny to make a jar that you can fill up. I don't know if I'm actually going to be coloring in the jar or if it's just for appearances, but I think I'll find out in time of how I want to do it. Yeah. And then I thought it would be funny to make the S look like a dollar sign, even though my money isn't in dollars because I'm not from USA. Just checking how many pages I have left. So this next one is actually inspired by a spread I saw in Bullets and Confetti on Instagram. She made kind of a spread similar to this, not the exact same silhouette, but similar. Of these, she had more measurements than I have on mine, but these are the measurements I feel like I want to track. So I felt like that would be really pretty to look at with that line figure, and make it really visual. And then I figured I would do checkpoints of each like quarter of the year, and then January will be just, you know, the current, the one that I compare to, and then the other 3 will be, yeah, the progress that hopefully will be. But I think it really turned out well, and I found the inspiration from a picture on Pinterest. I just typed in a line art figure, and then there's a bunch of really great artists that make these types of drawings. I really use Pinterest a lot for inspiration. I think it's really a good way to also learn how to draw a lot, because you can trace it. I don't trace it that often, but I still get inspiration from there of how I want to and how you can draw different things, and then I try to make it my own at least. Then spread next to the measurements is kind of like the same as the measurements, but instead of measuring parts of my body, it will be the weight. And I don't per se have a goal weight that I want to, so the 53 isn't the goal weight exactly. It's just yeah, it's just that's the kind of realm that I move in with my weight. So I wanted to see how much it fluctuates and how, yeah, kind of see how it goes throughout the year. And then this next one is I guess you could say it's a cleaning spread, but for me my space is really something that can trigger how I feel. So for me it's really important that my surroundings are not clean, but when everything's really messy and things everywhere, I feel like that clutter can transfer into my mind. So I chose some things here that I often forget that you have to do. So it's not like every month or every week or every day. It's just some of the things that you often forget to do, and then that you often forget when you did last. So then I can type in when I did them last, so I know now it's time to do that again, because it's been so and so long since I did it last. And then this next one is a plant tracker. I saw Shada Campbell doing this, in one of her videos. I can't remember which one. And the drawings of the plants is also from one of her tutorials. And she's really helped me learn how to draw realistic flowers and plants. But I want to keep track of my plants because just to see how they grow and when to fertilize them and when I did it last, and kind of maybe also write how to care for them, because I often forget and then each time I have to look it up on Google. So maybe I could just write it down here and then I wouldn't have to do that every time. Yeah, and so one of the lights I was using shut down, as you can see, but I continued because I thought you can still see it pretty well. So this is the 2 last spreads. Ever since I got into bullet journaling, I really love the idea of sharing my spreads on Instagram. So I actually almost started my Instagram the same time as I started my bullet journal journey. So I thought it would be fun. I've seen a lot of people do these trackers, or milestones as I have called it, and I thought it would just be fun to see how, how far it can grow each year. So I recently rounded up 50 followers, or 60, which I think is pretty great for starting off my first year of bullet journaling. And then the last page here is a wish list, because I always find it so hard to come up with wishes whenever it's my birthday or Christmas. And then I split it up into 4 categories. So go home stuff, beauty stuff, makeup or cleansing stuff, and then the last one being crafts, kind of related to either bullet journaling or painting or drawing or knitting, which I also do. And then I'm just adding final touches because I forgot that I also made those 2 lines as part of the design, but I forgot them along the way. So just looking through the pages and seeing where I can add those in the different colors. And then that's it. That is the last spread. So this is the flip through. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in a video soon.